The KDP had a dual platform. The one platform, which was always very obvious to people because many of the founding members of the KDP were originally from the Philippines and were part of the Philippine movement, was the National Democratic program of the Philippines. You know, in the most concrete way at that period, it took the form of supporting the overthrow of the Marcos dictatorship. But the National Democratic platform also advocated for an end to U.S. support of the dictatorship, an end to the presence of U.S. military in the Philippines, but as well going all the way to supporting socialism in the Philippines, and therefore the support of the Communist Party of the Philippines and the National Democratic platform. The other side of the program of the KDP, which was the more controversial part, was the advocacy of socialism in the United States and organizing our communities around that platform. And that took, you know, the more concrete forms of fighting against discrimination in the Filipino community and also in the broader community, fighting for basic human rights such as housing, you know, our work with the youth, our work with in the labor unions, in the Local 37, which was mainly a struggle for equal pay and you know, better working conditions and better pay. So all of those were more in the realm of the socialist program here for the United States. That was more of a controversial platform because people who we were working with in the Philippines, and also people that had come from the Philippines that joined the KDP, felt that working around those issues would take away from our work around the Philippines. And that, so while that began as a lesser tension in the very beginnings of the KDP, along the way it became increasingly very difficult tensions amongst forces in the KDP, but as well as between those of us in the KDP here in the United States and then those in the Philippines that we were working with. And as the conditions in the Philippines began to deteriorate even more and more under the dictatorship, people in the Philippines really advocated for us to pay less attention to those anti-discrimination issues and to pay more attention to our work around the Philippines. In the end, many people, some people in the KDP left over that struggle, but in the end, we think those of us that stayed in the KDP felt that it was right because, you know, most people that come to the United States from the Philippines do not go back to live. And that I think was the wrong premise, that people would the idea was once the Philippines was liberated, then people would go back to the Philippines, that was really their homeland. But in fact, Filipinos come to this country, they make it their home, even though they still have the connections with the Philippines and they travel back and forth to visit relatives. They still make the United States their home, and their kids stay here. And their fight then becomes to make a better living here in the United States, even though they're still concerned about the Philippines. And so we still feel that having that platform around working to make our lives better here in the United States was the right position to take, even though in the end that caused us, you know, to sever our ties with those in the Philippines that we were building a movement with.